Welcome to the Big Red Show, Just One Thing, and today we have Maggie Martin and we're talking about wild women.
Woohoo! So what do you want to know about Wild Women, Robert?
What does it stand for?
Wild Women Adventures. I have always been kind of labelled wild.
Yeah.
Right from feral it was when I was younger. I prefer wild. No, I don't. I don't mind both. So that's where it's come from. The name Wild Women Adventures. And the adventure side of it is because I think anything can be adventure. It doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to be something massive that you plan for months for. Every day you can have lots of mini adventures.
Yeah, I believe that.
So, it was one of those 3 a.m. things that pop in your head. You know, the best ideas you have when you can't sleep and you wake up at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
And it was like Wild Women Adventures. And it began on International Women's Day. It'll be 6 years in March. Wow.
6 years.
6 years. Mm-hmm. And it started with 5. I took 5 women on a glamping, wild camping experience to woods up near Alnwick. And it's grown from then organically. And there's 5,500 wild women now across the northeast, across Britain, across the world.
Wow. Yes.
It's pretty impressive, isn't it?
I've been to one of your Wild Women events and it was the dragon race.
Yes.
And I loved that. I literally turned up and you were the Wild Women. There was 16 of yous and I just all dressed. What were you dressed as?
So we went as cabaret.
Yeah.
It was kind of cabaret burlesque. Every year we do it. I think that was our 5th dragon boat race.
You make the event, by the way.
And every year we come either last, close to last, but I say we win every year because we're always the best dressed. We're always the loudest. We always have the most fun. And I think we should have our own prize.
I believe so.
But it's all for charity.
Yes.
And it's also, it's been a different team every single year. And it's people's opportunity to get out their comfort zone, to feel part of something, to have a laugh and just do something completely different. But that's, for me, what Wild Women Adventures is about.
Bringing people together?
It is it's a tribe. It's literally having people there that if you want to do something that might push out your comfort zone,
yes.
Try something new, to have a whole kind of tribe, community of people just saying, we'll come and do it with you, we'll support you, or yes, I'd like to do that too. So it's an opportunity for people to do something new, to create an event that they wanted, something they've always wanted to do, and have people go along, or people to share opportunities. So they might have seen something. It might be, it could be anything. It's more about getting out into the wild than being wild, kind of.
Yeah.
So it can be wild camping, it can be climbing. We do welly walks where we'll get together, put our wellies on, we'll go out at night, we'll wear head torches and we'll go in the woods, which is a very different experience to going and doing it during the day. And for a lot of people, it's their kind of first time that they're taking that step to meeting a group that they've never met before. So doing that in the dark, where you can kind of be part of things, or you can kind of hide in the back, is a really good way of kind of bringing people into
That'll
it.
create bonds instantly, won't it?
Exactly.
Because you're out in nature, which is awesome.
Yeah. And I know people that have come for welly walks for the first time, and then we've ended up in the North Sea after it, like 11 o'clock at night.
That would have been you instigating that.
Yeah.
Let's have a little dip
Always,
over here.
let's go in the sea. Could be clothed, it could be unclothed.
Yeah.
Just depends. And I've had people sign up for a welly walk, gone on a welly walk, and then they've booked up to climb Mount Toubkal in Morocco, because they've just kind of, this feels good, what's next? And I think that's what it is about Wild Women. When you do something that pushes you out your comfort zone, you think, this is good, what's next? And because you've got that kind of network of people with lots of opportunities, you've got lots of opportunities for what's next.
Lots of different events. So someone just basically thinks, oh, well, I fancy doing that. They put it on the group and then other people will say, I'll do that, I'll do that.
Yeah. And it builds.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Rather than just thinking, I'm going to go and do that. You've got to...
And I think that's the thing about the groups, because when we started with 5, what they did is they went away and told their friends, I've been camping. We went and we stayed in a wigwam. We made dream catchers, and they were like, oh, God, I'd love to do that. And they're like, join the group.
Yeah.
So it's people that have had a positive experience want to share that positive experience with somebody else, and that's how the group grows. And then, I mean, if I think of the things that we've done, you know, a lot of us are women in our 50s, and, you know, we'll get with roller skates on and we'll go across Whitley Bay Promenade, or we'll go along Newbiggin, and people smile and like, they're like, oh my goodness, I haven't worn roller skates. And then somebody will say, you need to join Wild Women Adventures, you know. So it's that kind of
Is
thing.
it like going back to your youth a little bit?
I've never grown up.
Well,
I have always been 6 years old, and I never want to get past 6 years old. I've always had that, you know, when you're that age and you're kind of in the moment and everything is like a wow moment.
Yes.
I still have that. And I don't know why I still have that, but it's amazing that I do. And I still get that excitement, and I just still get that. I mean, I can see a sky and I'm like, oh my God, have you seen the moon? And just get really excited about it. So I don't intend on growing up.
No, that's awesome. But there's a lot of ones who have grew up who are probably coming there and thinking, this is like being a kid again.
It is.
Which is mint.
You get out to go and play. You get to phone your mates up and say you're coming out to play. And that's the beauty of
Knocking on the door, you're coming out.
Yeah, you're coming out to play. It's literally that. But the thing is, I've heard people say that it's changed lives. There's people that's moved up to the northeast and they haven't known anybody. And they start to look for, how do you make friends if you don't go to school?
Yeah.
You know, it's how do you make friends if you're very different to people that you work with, or there's people that you hang out with that don't necessarily like to do the things you want to do. I mean, I don't like pubs. I like live music, and I'll go to a pub to watch live music, but I don't feel comfortable in that setting. How do you meet other people? So it's like, I knew that I needed that myself. So I've kind of created a way of making friends. A community.
I love that. And I've seen them all, and they're all buzzing.
Yeah, they love it. What's really good about it, for me, is when people had a good time, they associate you with that good time, and they're like, oh my God, Maggie, you're amazing. It's not me that's amazing. It's the fact that they've been brave enough to take themselves out their comfort zone. That feels good. And they associate that with me.
Comfort zone.
I wouldn't say push. I would say all I do is create opportunities, and people motivate themselves. You know, it's like, it's not me saying you need to do that. They want to do it. It's got to come from you. It's got to come from them. And when they do it, they feel really good about it. And then they associate that with me, which is great.
No, 100%.
But it's not me. It's them. You know, and I'm not taking anybody else's credit for that, because people have done amazing things, absolutely amazing things, from being involved in that, having that community, having that tribe.
Well, I was just thinking back there, because the opportunities, when I said pushed, because I got pushed out of a plane.
You were offered an opportunity
to
jump out of a plane.
And you
snapped it up. And how did it feel?
I said yes, you know, and then it come round and I forgot it was there. And it was the most... Yeah, it's hard to put it in context how amazing it was, but super scary as well.
Yeah.
Super scary.
Yeah.
I forgot I was scared of heights until he was like bumming us out the plane.
What a way to remember you're scared of heights, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'd done a lot of different things on us, but nothing. And then bang, you're out there. You give us that opportunity. You also got us to speak on stage for my first time.
I did, yeah.
Which was so random.
Again, you were given the opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like I don't know, I think maybe one of the things I do see in people is potential. And I also see when somebody really wants to do something, and I'm quite good at creating opportunities to make that happen.
Yes.
So, but I also recognize it has to come from that person. You cannot convince anybody to do something that they don't want to do. And why should you? You know, it's got to come from that person, because otherwise they won't feel good about it.
Yeah.
So, you know, and once you push yourself out your comfort zone, how does it feel?
Amazing. And then you want some more.
And then it's like, what's next?
What's next?
Yeah. So again, it's almost about having to have that kind of community of what next. And again, for me, that's Wild Women.
And there's lots of what next, because everybody's putting on. So what is next for the Wild Women?
And the thing is, because it's grown organically now, it's not me that creates all the events. I'll put events in and I'll look for opportunities, but it's got its life of its own. It's not that you need somebody directing that, or it is a complete empowered community of women that know that they can put events on, they can share activities. So it could be anything. There's things that go in on a daily basis.
You probably don't even see them all.
And I look, you know, I'll go and have a look at the events, because I'll just think, right, you know, I need to do something different. And you look through all the events and there's so many opportunities to do that. It could be anything.
What's your favourite event this year, if you had to pick one?
So this year has been my year of like holiday and travel. So I've done 10 kind of different mini breaks this year. So I've been to Lanzarote, I've been to Tenerife, I've been at Crete, I've been at Faro, 3 nights in a boat. I've been to Morocco, so it's really hard to pick. And I think it was because I always said I don't like holidays because I don't want to have to, I'd rather have a life that I love, not something that I want to escape for 2 weeks a year. So holidays have never been my thing until I went away with one of my friends and took her partner's, like ex-partner. And I just thought, why am I not doing it? This is mint. And I'm a very all or nothing person. So I've gone from don't like holidays, don't do that, to like, right, I want to do one a month. So I think my favourite experience out of all of it is I stayed in Faro in Portugal, and it was 3 nights on a boat, and there was a tropical storm. And wherever you looked, and the boat didn't go from side to side, it went round like that, which, I was like, oh, this is, blew my mind. And wherever you could go, you could see thunder and lightning, and it was just exciting.
Most people would be pretty scared of that.
I love thunderstorms. I love thunder and lightning. I love sea. I love being in the water. My health and safety advice to Kylie, who was with us, is like, we need to take out our metal earrings. Because, yeah.
A tin boat.
Yeah, But no, I loved it. So I think that's been probably one of the highlights of this year. There's many. What
would you say to someone, one of our amazing viewers, who's listening to this now and thinking, should I join?
Just do it.
Just do it.
But that's my advice for anything. Anything that kind of gets in your mind and thinks, should I? You regret the things that you don't do. So if it pops in your mind, should I? Do it. Yeah. Every single time. You said about advice and things like that as well. Don't just trust yourself that whatever happens, that you'll be able to handle it and you'll do it.
Just do it. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally how I've ended up here.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally.
Just by just doing it. The more you think about things, the more I think you'll kind of procrastinate, put it off, give yourselves reasons for not to do it. But if it's popped in your head, it's popped in your head for a reason. Do it.
And just do it and just learn along the way. Like, we've learned so much. I have. Yeah. I literally thought, you're just sitting there talking, but there's a lot more going on.
Yeah. Life favours the bold. I like boldness. It's like a quality I really like in people when they're just like, yes, I'm just going to do it.
Just have a go.
Yeah, just do it. It's one of my favourite qualities.
Yeah, so if you're all listening to this and you're thinking, that sounds awesome, Matt, just click on Wild Women Adventures and join up, because the more community spreads and feel-good factors and all of that business, it's just wicked. Yeah.
I'm looking to kind of do some like creative writing or some kind of create a book, because I've heard that many stories about how it's impacted on people's lives that I want to capture. So that's kind of mine for 2025, one of the things I want to do. But we've done a calendar. We did a naked calendar for Wild Women Adventures. And that came from taking, there was a group of 5 of us, and we went sports climbing in Spain. And there was 3 of them that had never climbed before, so they had to learn climbing indoors. And then they went sports climbing in Spain, and they were doing 250-foot routes. And I asked them the scariest thing, and a couple said it was like being in a bikini. And then there was another group that we went rafting, the wild water rafting, and it was in December, it was freezing, we had to wear 2 wetsuits because it was so cold. And again, the thing was, people saying about their comfort zone was more to do with getting in and out the wetsuits in front of people. So I was like, that thing about body image, we need to do something around that, because from the media, it's thrown at you from an early age what people should look like and what classifies beauty. Yeah. So again, we had a 3-course Christmas dinner, wild camping in the woods, and we're having a conversation about that. And I don't know who came up with the idea, and it was like, let's do a naked calendar. And that's what happened. And that was in 2020 when we had a global pandemic, and we still made it happen. We'd planned, we were doing 12 different photo shoots. Rachel McComfer, who was a photographer, she's amazing, love you.
Shout out to
thank you,
Rachel.
massive shout out. She offered her time for free to do that.
Yeah, she's class.
In the first year we went to Kielder, there's a art installation there, and Kielder let us do that, and had all these women on this art installation, and it was amazing, and it was January and it was freezing. And then again we did one in Brockwell Woods in February, and then March the pandemic struck. And it was just after, because Wild Women's birthday is on the 8th of March, which is International Women's Day.
Oh, class.
So we couldn't do the March one because of the pandemic, but she still made it happen another day. We were kind of, we did one on Naked Gardening Day when people just sent pictures in of themselves. And then we had a bunkhouse adventure when we were allowed out in July that we did at down in Preston Towers.
Yeah.
And she came along and did it. So we still made it happen, even though. So it's not a case of right, let's give up. It's like, how do we do this differently? And I think everybody in the group's kind of got that attitude. It's like, right, how do we make it happen?
Army of people making things happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
And it just grows. And the thing is, there's lots of different groups like this out there. And what's good for me about Wild Women Adventures, we are not precious. If people get that and they don't get that from Wild Women, we will promote other groups. So if somebody else has got a group and then somebody thinks, well, this isn't quite for me, but I love the idea of that.
Yeah.
It's not like, stay here because, we know best, or we want you here. It's like, it's about encouraging people to find whatever it is that works for them and whatever group it is that works for them.
Yeah, for sure. Because something might work for you for a bit, then you might just be attracted to something else more, and you'll always be coming back around.
So we've linked up with Walk and Talk Northumberland. They've got a women's walking group, so we'll post their things in the group.
There's a one of them.
There's a male one of that as well. Because this is the thing, people say to me, why women? Why is it Wild Women Adventures? Because loads of men have said to us why don't you do this for men? And the reason I started out for women is because I love the outdoors. I've always loved the outdoors, and a lot of time then I've gone and I've signed up to do an activity, I've been the only female, or it's been a lot less females than there are males. And I was obsessed with climbing for years and years, and I'd go and I'd do a climbing activity and I'd have men tell me how to climb. And which I would smile and I would say, thank you.
You don't like being told what to do.
But I hate being told what to do. And so for me, I wanted to do it to encourage more women into the outdoors. I didn't know what I wanted it to look like. I didn't know what it was going to grow into. I just wanted to create an opportunity for women to go and do more of these outdoor activities. And the other reason was I used to do them all the time, and people say, can I come climbing with you? Or they'd say, take me kayaking, or can I do that? And I'd say, yeah, no bother. And then I'd forget to ask them.
Yeah.
So the other idea of setting up the group was once a month, I was going to put something on that anybody could turn up, so it's kind of, the responsibility wasn't me to get in touch with them then, it was their choice whether they wanted to come and do it.
You have to chase them.
Yeah. And that one thing a month has just grown because, again, I don't want that response. I don't want people to have a dependency. I want to create a empowering sort of environment where it's, like I say, it's about people's own choice and they do it because they want to do it, not because it's like, right, Maggie, what are you going to organise next?
Yes.
It's about what would you like to do next?
The people's choice, basically, rather than
empowerment. It's all empowerment.
Yeah.
And I get excited talking about it, as you can tell.
I love it. Mm-hmm. I think it is awesome. Mm-hmm. And it probably is good that it's just women only. Men have their own thing. Mm-hmm. And a lot of women probably wouldn't turn up if it was mixture. So it's awesome.
And like I say, there's other groups out there that, there is opportunities that people can do mixed activities, and that's fine, sharing a group. Just tell people it's mixed. Yeah. Because that has happened in the past where somebody's looked and seen something that's been shared in the Wild Women Adventures, and they've gone along and she's like, oh my God, it was mixed group. So again, it's just making people aware of whatever you share, say if it's women only, just say this is an opportunity, but it's going to be a mixed group. Yeah. So there's no no's. Full
of adventure. Yeah. Wild Women Adventures.
Yeah. And again, it came, you talked about challenging times. For me, it came in a time in my life when I was going through a really tough time, because I had taken a job on, and then, like you've just said, I don't like being told what to do, and I'd gone from a management position into a role where I was working for somebody else who had a complete different kind of outlook on life, had a different perspective, and we clashed.
Yes.
And it was a job that I'd taken on that wasn't how it was kind of sold to me. It wasn't how I'd pictured it in my head. And I was put collecting information. It was a role all around community, and it was all around finding out what was going on in the community and what you can do to support that, what you could do to shout out about it in the community. And I thought, oh my God, this job is amazing. And what it actually looked like was going on Facebook, finding out a group and putting that information into an app. So it was sitting in front of a computer, 5 days a week. And it was like, and I just felt so kind of, it's the first time I think in my life that I've ever done a job that I really didn't like. And that's alien to me. I don't know how people can do it. You know, when people say about hating the job, I absolutely love what I do because I've always worked in community. And I just felt so kind of disempowered in that role. But for me now, I think that is the most positive thing could have happened, because without that, there wouldn't be a Wild Woman.
Yeah.
Because I needed my escape as well. And my escape has always been the outdoors. I discovered the outdoors when I was 15 and sent away to an outdoor activity centre.
Is that because you were naughty?
Of challenging behaviour, I would say.
Yes, challenging, I like the word.
Challenging behaviour
yes.
in the classroom. And there was an instructor there, he was called Jeremy. He was very posh, very well spoken. And we were doing a cliff jump. And we were standing at the top of the cliff. And I heard him say, Maggie won't do that. She'll not want to smudge her makeup. I was in that water and off that cliff before he'd even finished his sentence. You know, there was nothing stopping us. And it was like, this is my world. And I discovered outdoors, and it was like the answer to everything.
You love it though, like when we're on the beach, it's just freedom, isn't it? It's like when you go down that beach and even before you get in the sea, you get your shoes off and the world has gone.
Yeah.
All of the noise of the phones, the block, and I love King Edward's because there's no signal.
Yeah.
And then you just in the sea, out.
It's for me, again, it's about being completely in that moment.
Yes.
It's like I said, when you're a child, you live in moments. Time goes very slowly when you're a child because you're not thinking about what you did yesterday, the week before. You're not thinking about what you've got to do next week, next year, next month.
You're already in today.
You are completely living in moments. And for me, that's what outdoors does. It's what climbing's done for us. It's what wild camping's done for us. It's what going in the sea does for it. It's what's sitting having a fire looking at a moon. You are not thinking about yesterday. You're not thinking about what you're doing next week. You are completely in that moment.
Present. And loving it.
Yeah.
I was thinking that there. I was thinking, what just an awesome time we had. We were on the beach and everyone went. There was just me and you sitting dancing around the fire. I was like, where's everyone gone?
It was brilliant, wasn't it?
You had just come back from the, you had this big...
I had a hat and I dressed it with flowers.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'd put all flowers.
You'd been to an event?
I'd been to a festival called the Green Gathering, which is down in South Wales.
Yes.
It was a 9-hour drive back, and I decided
you hadn't been to sleep,
I hadn't been to sleep, and I wanted to come to King Edward's Bay to go in the sea. And I just thought, I'm going to go do that and go home. But I think it was about 2:00 in the afternoon by the time we left, and we just danced by the fire and... Yeah.
It was a class day.
But people went past, they smiled.
Yeah.
When people watched us, they smiled.
And people were coming over and they were like, yeah.
They want to like, oh, do you do this every week? Blah, blah. And it's like, they want to be involved. When they see people enjoying themselves, it inspires people. You know, they want to be involved in it. They want a bit of that. And, you know.
Yeah, I don't think anyone could walk past the Wild Women at that.
Oh, you can't miss
it. In the dragon race, honestly, it was magical. I turned up to support you, and then I heard someone, it was called the Red Dragon or something, next to the boat, and I was like, could I do it? And she was like, oh, hi, we've got a space.
Yeah.
And I was literally in the race 10 minutes later, and honestly, it was wicked.
Exactly.
I loved it.
So you cannot just go there to spectate. You wanted to be part of it.
I was just like,
and ended up being involved.
Oh, I'd love to do this. The one where we have a space. I was like, oh, mint. So then they were all dressed in red. They were called the Red Dragon. I was like,
it was brilliant.
I loved it.
Yeah. And I think for me, again, another message to people is about all it takes is 1 second to breathe. That's all it takes. If you're going to kind of get out your comfort zone, it's about finding that 1 second to breathe and just saying yes and doing it.
Yeah, putting it out there. If you say you're going to do it, just do it.
Just do it.
So, Maggie.
Ooh. Hit me with it, Robert.
What 3 top tips would you give our amazing viewers to smash life?
I've already talked about living in the moment.
Yes, that's so powerful.
And again, that is about just taking that time to think about what is going on right now. So what can you see? What can you hear? What can you smell? What can you taste?
Coffee.
What can you touch? And that's as easy as it is to kind of bring yourself into that present moment. You know, it's just, that is, right, what's going on right here, right now, you know, and getting excitement within that. The other one is not worrying about what other people think about you.
That's a big one, by the way.
But if you think about it, going to be but I'm always mind blown by this, is every single person that knows you, has a completely different version of who you are. And that's not based on you or anything you did. It's based on them and how they see the world. So every single person sees you differently. So that is quite liberating for you as a person because it's nothing to do with you. So all you can do for you is be you.
Yeah.
Because it's down to them. So, and that stops me thinking about being judged by other people because I've got no control over that, because I have no control over how they see the world. What I've got control over is me and the choices I make and who I am. And that makes me unapologetic me. You know, it's like I find it mind-blowing.
You're only ever an extra in somebody else's movie, maybe 20%.
Yeah.
So the rest of the time you spent with yourself. So you might as well be happy with yourself and stop worrying about what everybody else thinks.
Exactly.
Because they're only ever an extra.
And you've got no control over it, and it's more about them. You know, it's all about them. It's all about them and who they are and nothing to do with you. So that's what I would say is like free yourself from like worrying about what other people think. I can relate to
that, but I still overthought things which... So the first episode, dealing with Christmas, I watched it and I was like, oh, I'm not really sure. But then I literally give it to my mum. And I says, what do you think, man? She was like, yeah, put it on.
Yeah, there you go.
It was a little bit about her.
Third one is every single day you have an opportunity to be a different you.
Yes.
Because everybody that you meet, every experience that you do, and everything that you learn changes you as a person. So every day you're not your yesterday person, you're not your tomorrow person. You are somebody that's still learning and you're still meeting people, you know, and you're still kind of having different experiences that's going to change you. So don't get hung up about who you used to be or who you're going to be. Again, it's like
so yesterday has gone, tomorrow is a mystery, today is your history.
Yeah, yeah. You know, it's just being about don't get too hung up on labels or...
This is where overwhelm and all of that comes from. And people might use the word stress or excited, whatever you want to call it, is thinking too much into the past and also thinking too much into the future. If you just sit and think now...
Right now, what do you see?
Some awesome people.
What do you smell?
Coffee, because I've had none. Because I'm doing coffee, no coffee, and that's what I can smell.
Yeah.
But it brings you into now, what you're saying. Very much so. So there you go, viewers. Just think about now and how awesome you are.
So, it's all been about me for now.
It has?
For you, if you think about from when we first met on the beach, what kind of things have you done? You know, if that was your yesterday person, what kind of things have you done that's kind of led you up to this point?
Wow, well, I can remember being on the beach and I had just done my presentation at the BNI, which is the British Networking International, for those who don't know, which you stand up and there's a room of like 30 people and you just speak for 30 seconds, 60 seconds. And I had done a 10-minute presentation and I'd never done that before.
And I remember, loved
it. And I was like telling you, and then you were like, oh, we'll come on the radio. And then you put us on an event. I just do so much purely because I say yes.
Yeah.
And I don't think about it and I forget about it. And then it comes on and I'm like, oh, I'm doing that tomorrow.
Yeah.
but literally jumping out of a plane, highlight.
So if you think from that 10 minutes of like getting up and public speaking for the first time, then doing an event leads to something like skydiving.
Wow,
You know, was any of that planned?
None of it.
No. So it's about saying yes in that moment, isn't it?
Yeah, just say yes and just do it. If it feels like it's something like going to be a challenge and you're going to get because challenges will always come, good or bad. You might as well embrace them and enjoy them. And I always find that your biggest buzz comes from something that you're probably most excited or scared of.
Magic happens out your comfort zone.
Yeah.
If you're sitting at home in your fluffy slippers, in your most comfiest armchair, you're not going to get the excitement. You're not going to get that anticipation. You're not going to get that kind of sense of adventure.
Like cold water, right? It's freezing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so like we're driving, I'm going to drive down to the beach on Sunday, right? And I'm going to go and jump in and I'm like, what are you going to do that for? But I know how amazing I'm going to feel afterwards.
Yeah. And it's good at getting uncomfortable because it's uncomfortable every time. It's cold every time. It's horrific every time. But after you've done it, for me, it's when I get to my shoulders.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, this is amazing.
You're staying for ages though. You're like, I'm probably about 5 minutes at the max.
That's because I'm a talker.
Yeah.
And I'll have conversations with people and then realise it's actually really cold.
Maybe I need to put some more weight on.
But again, I think that's that being in the moment thing. You know, you don't realise how long you've been in there because you're having a really good conversation. Yes. You're in the sea.
Sometimes I'm shocked with how I get it.
Yeah.
Because
and then you get out and it's like, and you've got a fire and, you know, you're having conversations and it just makes you feel good.
It makes you feel.
And it has been horrible and it has been uncomfortable and it has been cold. But if you hadn't put yourself through that, you won't get to the bit where the magic happens.
Yeah.
And I think that's that same thing about when you get that in your head, just saying, will I do that? And it might be a bit scary and it might be a bit uncomfortable, but you cannot get that magic. You cannot get that feeling unless you're willing to put yourself through those bits.
Push yourself.
And a number of people have said that, oh my God, why am I doing this, Maggie? Do you know what I mean? And what have you got us into, kind of thing. And again, at that point, it's a bit of blame. And then afterwards, they're like, oh, thank God. You know, I really, really enjoyed that. I'm so pleased I did that. And and then they like us again. It's almost like they don't want to take that credit for it.
Yeah, because you're just basically giving them the.
I can remember somebody saying they were going to get a t-shirt on the front saying Maggie made me, and on the back saying, but what's next?
Yes. One question: if you could go back to one event in your life, Maggie, what event would it be?
It would be skydiving, and not even the first one I did, because the first time you skydive, it is there's so many emotions going on.
Yeah.
I can remember getting out the plane. I like doing things that are scary, and I wanted to get that feeling of fear, and I was very surprised that I didn't get it, so I had to do it again. So I actually think the moment is the second time that I skydived, and that's because I kind of knew what to experience. So this time I just took everything in, and it was almost like time stood still, because I wanted to capture all of it. I wanted to take it all in. I wanted to look out the plane, and I wanted to see the height. I wanted to feel that. I mean, you're falling at 125 miles an hour.
15,000 feet.
15,000 feet for around about a minute.
Go so fast.
But you feel like alive. It's the only, you feel so alive in that moment. You can wave your hands. I was making love hearts. I was blowing kisses.
I wasn't like.
But you've done it once.
Yeah.
And that was me the first time. It was just, the second time, that's a moment. And the other time was the first time when I did it for myself, when I wasn't strapped to an instructor.
Wow.
That's the other time, because I was completely responsible for myself. I wasn't completely, because there are instructors there to kind of guide you, and they jump out and then. But again, for me, that kind of took away, because you've got all these things that you have to remember to do, because you're doing it for yourself, and you have to open your parachute, because that's quite important. And so again, I still prefer the second time, the tandem, for somebody else having all that responsibility. So that's, just completely in that moment and just taking it all in. So that's what it is. Skydiving.
It is an amazing experience. Scary, very scary. For me, the G-force, it was just really intense. And the bloke kept on grabbing my legs and pulling them over. And then before I know, he's slapping us and saying, smile. I'm like, because then I looked down. And I even think that now. I was like,
I think you almost have to do it again, Robert, just so you can
and when I hit the floor, I was like, thank you. I didn't have a clue.
Yeah. But again, I think my head sometimes confuses fear and excitement, because the same thing happens to your body.
Same feeling.
Exactly the same
100%.
things, happens to your body. And again, I took up stand-up comedy for the same reason, because somebody told me that was the most terrifying thing you could ever do.
I think I'm going to do that next. I think that's my thing to
Definitely do it.
Just because
And again, I want to get to that point where this is so terrifying, but it wasn't. I just loved it.
Yeah, you rocked up in your mermaid suit, didn't
and
you?
I did stand-up comedy, sat down, dressed as a mermaid.
Yeah, I was like,
there
she comes.
I think those are the moments, the ones when I just think this is going to be so scary, and then I do it because it just makes me feel good for doing it.
And I think in yourself that you should be getting up there, because I was like, I should get hold of that mic. I was like, what for? You know what I mean? But I literally was saying to myself, go on, can I get over the mic? And then that is my cue, like, Robert, you should be doing that next.
Yeah.
And
there
now
you
I've
go.
said, I'm doing it next.
Now you're doing it. That's your next thing, stand-up comedy.
Purely because it's my son's birthday.
Uh-huh.
And I look back, I was thinking about this, and it was the most magical day I can remember. Ollie coming into the world.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ollie, son, I love you. And the whole thing just seemed white. And then she gave us Ollie. And she was like, do you want to give him his first bottle? And I was like, aye. And honestly, time flies.
Yeah.
So shout out to Ollie.
Oh, happy birthday, Ollie.
Happy birthday, son. We've had a question from Amanda. What was your favourite Wild Women event? Oi, oi. She said it.
Oi. It's got to be the dragon boat races.
Yes.
It has to be which Amanda was part of as well. And like I say, it's because it's been a different team every single time. Every time we've had a different outfit. And for us, winning the whole competition isn't the goal. And I think, because I'm quite competitive, I've got quite a competitive, but there's lots of ways that you can win at life. And that isn't always about getting over being first, over the winning.
Use win by the energy you bring.
Win by the
there's
fun
a
we have
around it.
We win by how excited we get about kind of coordinating our outfits. We're going as Viking maidens next time. We're going shield maidens.
Awesome.
So we already know at the end of this year what we're going to do for next year's.
Well, it's been an absolute belter. Maggie, as always, how can the viewers find out more about you and your Wild Women Adventures?
So it's Wild Women Adventures on Facebook. It's predominantly a Facebook group because that's where it started. We have got an Instagram, which is Adventures Wild Woman at Instagram. We have got a website, which is www.wildwomenadventures.co.uk. But I would say to be fully involved in it, it is about joining the Facebook group.
Yeah.
I've got a Gmail, adventureswildwoman@gmail.com as well. So there's lots of ways you can get in touch.
Facebook, the best one.
But again, there is people that's not on Facebook that have got friends that'll let them know what's going on as well. But I would say predominantly it is the Facebook group where most things happen.
And if you're thinking about it,
just do it. Just do it.
Come along. Oh, Maggie, I've had an amazing time.
Yeah,
thank you.
Mate, thank you for asking me to do this as well. Brilliant.
And if you're all ready to smash 2025, I've got a program called Smash Life Challenge. I'd love you to come and work with me. Smash Life Challenge is a 6-week program to help you become the best version of yourself. Taken from all the people I've worked with and sort of condensed it into a 6-week program, giving you the best I can. And this is my first one, and I would love you to come along because it's going to be mint. And I'd love it if you could like it, share it, because the more we can impact, the better all around. Life's about showing up, embracing them challenges, and having a go. Let's go.